just wait and see if there's any more coming in. I think we've got you lot booked in. Who else has just come in? Julie, morning, Julie. Not the weather for walking this morning. It's a little bit rainy. So we'll see who's in the chat. So if you've got any issues, please put them in the chat. If you've got any morning, yes, looks horrible. Yeah, I know, Bruno. Like, hopefully we'll get out, but who knows? We'll see. I'm free all day, so if it brightens up at 11, we can still get out in the park for those that want to. So there we go. Okay, so yeah, please put anything in the chat if you've got any. We have very sunny weather. We'll just pretend we're all in Italy today then, Chiara. We'll all be with you today instead of here in rainy Newham. Anyway, we're all inside, so it doesn't matter. We're not getting wet. Okay, so my name's Karen. I think everybody's in that's in. Like, I've not seen anybody new names, so I won't go through all the rigmarole. But as usual, if you have any injuries, please put them in the chat. Or if anything doesn't feel right during the class, please come out of the movement, out of the posture, and again, just put a little comment in the chat, and we'll get back to you. I've got a sore throat today. Some of you know my trauma of the week, but my throat is still quite sore. Not sore today, but my voice is going. So I probably won't talk again as much today, but I am going to work you hard still. So we're going to start standing today. So if you want to come up to standing, and just make sure you can hear me, because I'm not going to talk too loud today. So just let me know in the chat if you can't hear me, and maybe make sure that your sound is right the way up, because I do normally shout and I'm not going to do it today. Who else have we got? Anybody else coming in? Yukling La, hi. I hope I'm saying that right. You may be new. So my name's Karen. I'm at Fit to Relax London. So making sure that if you've got any injuries or anything I need to know about medical issues, please put them in the chat to the panelists. Obviously, you don't need to declare it to everybody. And Melissa coming in as well. So a couple more. I think, Melissa, you were here last week though. So I was just saying, I've got a sore throat today, so I'm not going to talk as much, and we are going to do some standing. So make sure you can hear me now and turn your sound all the way up. And if at any point you can't hear me, please put a message in the chat. And either Kevin can let me know, or I can look in the chat. So we're going to start standing up. Oh, and Eucling, let us know where you are, whether you're in Newham or whether you're somewhere else in the world, because we have Chiara and she's in Italy today, sunny Italy. Anyway, so we're going to start standing. So hopefully you can still see me and still hear me. So let's get our perfect Pilates posture to begin with. So you can start with feet hip width apart. So make sure you're nice and comfortable. Have a little look down at your toes. Make sure they're all spread and facing forwards. Then we're going to just lift the toes up and place them all the way back down. And then come forwards and backwards and side to side. Just finding where your balance is, where your feet naturally are. And then also coming back to that midpoint, trying to have a little bit of weight on your toes, all toes, big toes, little toes, and also on your heels. So make sure you're bringing your weight just a little bit back so that you're on the toes. Good. Now think about drawing up through your thighs and drawing up through your knees, making sure your knees aren't rolling in. Just push them out so you're pushing onto the outer edge of your little toe, squeezing the knees, not squeezing them outwards too far, but making sure they're not rotating inwards. So you want to rotate the thighs just outwards a little. Good. Pull up as if you're zipping up a zip into your belly button and squeezing your bottom underneath. So I really want you to focus. We've got, I think, 3 weeks left or 2 weeks left. I really want you to focus today on this zip so that you're getting some pelvic floor and some core work, even when we're not doing the core stuff specifically. Always think about working your core. So drawing up, and then rounding back through the shoulders, shoulder blades down the base of the spine. So thinking feet, pelvic floor, connection with the core, shoulder blades back down the spine in everything that we do. Good. We're going to hold it here, and we're just going to circle the shoulders back. So keep that connection with the feet. Draw up as you come in and release as you go down. So pulling up and release. And I know we've got a couple on our session today who will tell you how effective working your pelvic floor is, not only for your core strength, but also for just generally your health. One more circle backwards, hold the shoulders back, keep pulling up with that pelvic floor just a little, and then just drop the chin down. Breathe out, release. Breathe in, pull up. Breathe out, turn to the side, just a gentle head roll, come back to the center. Breathe out, lower the head down. I apologise, Pat, I'm not being so specific today, probably. Turn the head the opposite way, breathe out. Come back to the center. Good, circle the shoulders forward. So pulling up pelvic floor as you pull up and releasing as you go down. So pull up and release. Squeezing those shoulders right back. So not just circling the shoulders, but squeezing them back. Important to open the chest again at this time of year. Even though it's not so cold, or it has been cold, we've got the tree pollen. So sometimes that can affect our breathing. So circling down, good. We're just going to come to a gentle roll now. So bring the head, just tuck the head in, rolling down through the spine. Keep that connection with the floor and then pull up pelvic floor, just coming down to the knees. Just notice how the back feels. All the way gently back up. Circle shoulders backwards. I'm going to float up onto the toes. So float the arms up, come up onto the toes. Good. Release back down. So circle again, releasing, coming all the way down, breathing out. And all the way back up. Circle shoulders backwards, floating onto the toes. Good. Two more. In your own time. As you roll down, make sure you're pulling in with that pelvic floor, pulling in with the belly button, rounding through the spine, not coming down from the hips with a flat back. Rounding down through the spine, coming up, stacking that pelvis underneath, coming up onto the toes. Good, so you've probably done 4 by now while I was talking. So this time we're going to come down and just circle the arm. So rolling forwards, make sure again the weight comes forwards, just feel the weight on the toes. One hand on the thigh and just let the other arm just relax down and then just gently circle. Make sure you've still got that rounded spine, you're not hinging from the hips. So 3 circles one way, 3 circles the opposite way. And then again, roll up through the spine. Circle the shoulders back, float up onto the toes, float the arms. So we're going to do 2 on each side. So rolling down. Make sure the weight's forwards. You're not sitting back onto the heels. Bring the weight forwards. So you're rounding through that spine, but supporting on the thigh. Rolling one way. And then rolling all the way up. So this one's really good for releasing through the shoulders. If you have any shoulder issues or any just tension in the shoulders, let's take the other side. So 2 on the other side, rolling down. Just rolling that shoulder. Just gonna have a quick sip of my water. Floating all the way back up onto the toes. And then when you've done your 2, just come back to your gentle Pilates posture. So feeling nice and strong, and we're going to start to move the hips. So just to begin with, we're just going to tilt under and pull up pelvic floor. So we're going to imagine we're squeezing our bottom downwards, pulling our pelvic floor upwards. You can put one hand on the bottom, one hand on the belly if you want. It's a very small movement. You're not forcing the hips or anything underneath. You're just pulling up, squeezing under, and then just a gentle let go. So you're not arching on the let go, you're just letting go. So just a gentle squeeze under and then release. Good, one more. Good, then we're going to come to the leg movement. So we're going to lift the knee up in front, right knee lifts up in front. We're going to take it out to the side, tap the toe down, and then pull up the pelvic floor, draw the leg back. We're going to do 5 today on each side. So take it out, draw it back. Now, you don't have to lift it too high, and you can put the toe down in between. But if you can lift the leg higher and just tap the toe down, you're also going to work this core as you're taking it out. So just coming out and opening that hip joint a little bit more. So 5 on the one side, so also testing that balance. Keep that big toe pushing down. Just notice if there's more movement on one side than the other. You may see more movement, may seem about the same. Good, and then just walk through the feet. Just walk through the feet, just getting a bit of movement again this way with the hips. And then bring the hands down to the side. Now, I know some of you have got your green balls. If that you come to my classes, you've got a green ball. Don't worry if you haven't. But if you've got your green ball, you can bring the ball to the side of the body. Just a little bit more to do. Tuck that pelvis under, pull in with in the core, and we're going to just come down to the side. So side bend, just rolling down the side. Squeeze the shoulders back. Just a gentle side bend. So we'll just do 3 on the one side and then 3 on the other side. And then we're going to come back and add a little bit on. So 3 just gently down the side. So 3 on one side, 3 on the other side. So warming this back up on a side raise motion. So side bend. Good. When you've done your 3, so this time we're going to come down to the side gently. So we're going to breathe out, come down to the side. And then you have the option, lift the opposite arm, see how it feels. Not too far, but just release it back down, come back up. So you can just stick with the roll if you want to. So not coming too far, but lifting up, coming all the way back down. Just see how that side waist feels. So breathing out, lifting up, keep the feet turning down to the ground. Good. And then the opposite side. So just watch what those feet are doing. Keep the connection. Squeezing under with that pelvis, lifting up. Good. And again, so coming down to the side. Good. Last one. Yeah, coming back up now. If you've got the ball, take the ball in both hands. If not, just without the ball, just bring the hands in front. So this time we're just going to lift up. So we're going to lift the arms up and take a side bend to the side. When we come back down, we're going to gentle squat. So we're going to bring the arms back down, sit the bottom back, gentle squat. Come all the way back up. Opposite side. So stretching the arms above the head, stretch to one side, come back to the center. Coming down, gentle squat. Make sure that bottom goes back, sitting onto the heels. Coming all the way up, gentle side bend. Good, let's do 2 more. So coming down in the center, side bend. Good, 1 more on each side. Relax the shoulders as you come into the squat. Relax them as you reach up. So try not to lift the arms all the way to the ears. Keep the shoulder blades down. Last one. Good. Releasing up. March out through the feet. Just moving the feet. Good. So last one we're going to do standing. Just bring both hands to the shoulders and then just circle the elbows back. Circle the elbows back. Good. 1 more. And then take a big stretch with both arms. Take them all the way up, circle them back if you can. Circling all the way back. Good, last one. We're going to come down to a roll down and out into our plank. Now, if you don't want to come out to plank and into the plank position, you can roll down, roll all the way back up, and we're going to do opposite hand to knee. So this is the position, kind of the position we're going to do in our plank. So we're going to be doing knee to elbow in our plank. But if you don't want to do the roll down and come into plank, come up, back up to standing, come to opposite hand, opposite knee. Otherwise, roll down, gentle roll down, and put a comment in the chat if you don't want to come down to the mat, and then I'll know what you're doing. Good, come all the way out, walk your hands out into your plank, Option of putting the knees down, remember, you can put the knees down. So in that plank, we're going to do opposite elbow to knee to elbow, come all the way back. Keep the shoulders still. So we're not rolling and rocking backwards and forwards. Shoulders still, opposite elbow to knee. Form on each side, and then release the knees down and take a sit back into your child's pose. Releasing into your child's pose when you've done the last one. And then come back up onto hands and knees and let's come into cat-cow. So hands down in that cat-cow position. So just rounding through the spine and then releasing out through the spine. So coming into that rounded position and then releasing out. Good, 2 more. So rounding in. Releasing out. Good. Take the feet back into that plank. So spread the fingers at the front. Draw the belly in. Make sure these elbows are facing inwards, just gently inwards. If you need to turn the hands in slightly, you can do. And we're going to slide one leg back. So draw the belly in. Slide that one leg back into your plank. Keep the knees just soft. And then slide the other leg back into plank. Hold and breathe. So just holding here in your plank. And then we're going to come back into that knee to elbow if you want to. So knee to elbow, take it back out. So breathing in, breathing out. So 3 again on each side. Breathing in, breathing out. Option of the knees. Breathing in, breathing out. Keep that head looking down at the thumbs. Good. When you've done the last one, again, drop the knees down. Come back into your child's pose. Just releasing all the way back. Hold and breathe. Good. We're going to do one more set here. So come and decide again whether you want to come up to plank or onto the knees, or your choice, elbows in. Last one. So we're going to come over with the knee into the side and back out. Opposite knee in. Keep the head looking down at the thumbs. So drawing across. Upper body stays still and strong. And then again, drop the knees down. Sink back into that child's pose. Give the wrists a little release. Just release the wrists. And then coming back up onto all fours, we're going to come into our Superman. So I think most of you have done the Superman before. So we're going to start off with the arms and then add the legs and then both. So really focus today on keeping everything strong through the core and keeping the weight central. So you're not shifting the weight onto one side as you move one arm or one leg. So try and focus on keeping everything central, pushing down through the shoulders. So we'll start off with the left hand today, just to confuse everybody and to make it slightly different. So we're going to take the left hand, hover it off the floor just an inch. And then as you breathe out, pull in with that core and take the arm out just to where it wants to go. Shoulder doesn't lift, keeps down. Thumb faces up. And then bring it all the way back. Hover it off. Release it down. Good. Change to the other side. So lifting up. Take it all the way out. Keep looking down at the thumb. Breathing out. Coming all the way back. Lower down. Good. We're going to do one more on each side. So watching that you're not shifting that weight. So as you lift that hand, don't shift the weight over to the opposite side. Keep it steady. 3 points, equal weight. Coming out and then coming all the way back. Last one on the right side. So spread those fingers, lifting up, breathing out. Keep that head looking down towards the mat. Good. And then do the same thing with the legs. So we're going to lift the knee off. Left leg. Knee lifts just a little. Slides all the way back. point the toe towards the back of the mat and then lift up. It's easy to shift this weight over, so keep it steady, keep the weight on that left side, and then draw the leg all the way back in, lower it down. So 3 on each side. If it gets a little strong on the wrist, sit back, give the wrist a little wave, a little wiggle, just to release. So 3 on each side. Just looking at the predictive text, it's not always great what it says. Funny. Good. Make sure you've done the last one, and then we're gonna do alternate arms and legs. So let's come back to the center. Have a rest if you need. Come back down onto the child's pose, and coming back up. At least it says child's pose today. My husband had some physiotherapy and he was told to do child's pose, and he wrote it down as Charles pose. So that wasn't good. At least I knew what it meant. Let's take opposite hand and knee. So slide that arm out. So let's go out, take opposite arm up, opposite leg out, and then gently come all the way back in. Hover the hand and knee off if you can, pull in pelvic floor and core, and then release down. So hover first if you can, hover first, and as you breathe out, take opposite arm and leg out. Find that length. So we're going long rather than up. We're not lifting this leg up at the back. We're just hovering it out straight. So aiming for a straight body rather than lifting up. I know in yoga, if you do yoga, you're aiming to lift and open the heart space more. With Pilates, we're strengthening and lengthening. So 1 more on each side. And then again, just sitting back onto the bottom. Take a child's pose, relax the hands out. And then today we're going to do our hip openers seated, partly so I can talk less. So let's bring the feet round to the front of the mat. If you want to do this one lying down, you know this one lying down, most of you. You can do it lying down, but I'm going to do it seated today just so that you can see, and so we've got a little bit more connection. Green ball, if you've got, you can place it behind the back, just so that you can lean back a little bit. You've got that back, so that you know that your back is still a little bit straight. Good. Hands down to the side of the body, just supporting, and you can lean back a little bit, pull up the pelvic floor to control the core. So we're just going to slide this leg out. We will lift it a little bit. So we're going to drawing pelvic floor, lift the left leg so that just the toes are off the floor, and then slide the leg all the way out. Heel is in contact with the ground just a little, or it can be hover off. Slide it out and then slide it all the way back in. So we'll do 3 on each side. Drawing in core, sliding out. Sliding all the way out. And sliding all the way back in. Good. And again, so if you found the plank poses easy today, or you found it a challenge and you want a little bit more of a challenge, we are doing the advanced Pilates on a Wednesday night. We've got 2 more weeks, 6:45 till 7:30. A couple of you joined in with that last week. So you can still take the easy versions on some of the movements, obviously. It is a little bit more challenging on the core particularly. So draw that leg back in. So opening out through the hips on this one again, slide it out. And sliding back in. Good. 1 more on each side, and then come back to the seated position. You need to sit. And then let's come to the leg drop. Then we're going to combine both. So with the knee drop, again, you can do this one lying down on the back if you want to. So just opening out that knee to the side. Just roll out on the foot so the outer edge of the foot comes down. You're not moving this opposite knee. Keep strong. Bring it all the way back. And then opposite side. So knee goes out. So this is hip opener. It's stabilizing and strengthening the hip. Come back to the center. Opposite side. So the aim is to keep this opposite hip really still. Same if you're lying down. You're doing it lying down, just keeping still. Breathing out. Coming back, last one. Good. Then we're going to try and strengthen the core a little bit in this movement as well. So we're going to slide the leg out, but we're going to lift the opposite leg. So we're going to, opposite arm, similar to your Superman. So you're going to slide that one leg out and lift the opposite arm just above the head. So you're really strong, working through the thigh and through the hip, and then draw it all the way back. So sliding out, lifting the opposite arm. So keep the shoulder relaxed, but try and lift that arm. Hover the foot off if you want, and come into an upright position if you want. So your hands are off the floor. So sliding out, sliding back. So breathing out. This one's also good. I know that anybody isn't pregnant, but this is also good if anybody's pregnant, or if you feel a little dizzy if you're going down to the floor. And you can also do this one seated. So it is a really good, there's lots of alternatives. So if somebody says to you, I can't do Pilates, I can't get down onto the floor, there are lots of alternatives, and that's why I do my inclusive Pilates, so that you don't have to necessarily feel uncomfortable. Last one. So slide it out. All the way back, still engaging that core as you go out. So you should be working this pelvic floor. If you're finding it easy and you think, what is this one doing? Pull up with the pelvic floor. Should still be working. Good. Bring both feet out in front and just release out. So you're just rolling over the belly roll forwards and just release through the spine. Good. Come back to the center. Bring the hands again just gently behind you, feet hip width apart, and just let the knees roll to one side. So keeping the knees apart today, keep the knees apart, roll the knees to one side. Try not to let one knee drop further than the other. So both knees roll, same distance. Come back to the center. We're going to do this one lying on the back to finish. So I want you to keep that distance between the knees today. Just to work again, works the core a little bit more. So roll them down, come back to the center. Good. Slide the legs out in front and just take a gentle forward fold. So just folding forwards over the legs. Good. Bring the legs back into the crook knee position. So we're going to roll down. Again, if this one isn't feeling good sitting on the bottom, you can come down onto the back and you can do the toe tap one. I'll show you that one in a minute. Otherwise, we're going to come into start with our core work, a little bit more core work. So arms out in front or underneath the thighs, so your choice. And we're going to roll down. So sitting tall to start with, pulling in with the belly, navel towards the spine, and relax the shoulders. And then start to think about, as you breathe out, releasing down through the spine. So releasing. See, I've got my ball behind me, so this is really good if you've got any back issues or you're not particularly strong yet in the core. You've got the ball, it just supports a little bit as you come down, and then you can come all the way back up. So breathing out and breathing in. So I know a few of you that come to my classes have got the balls. And Bruna, if you want a ball, I can get you a ball at some point. Good. So rolling down. So breathing out as you roll down. Relax the shoulders. You can come a little lower if you want. And then coming all the way back up. Good. So sitting tall. One more. Releasing down. Coming all the way back up. Good. Now we're going to take a twist. So we're going to twist on the way down, and then we're going to lift on the way up. So rolling down gently, breathe out. Take a twist. So bring one arm out to the side and turn the belly button. So bring one arm out to the side, turn and look at the hand, and then come all the way back up. When we come back up, we're going to lift the arms all the way up through the crown of the head. And if you can, we're going to lift the opposite leg. So come all the way down. So lifting, rolling down. So roll down, take one arm out to the side, all the way out. Look at the thumb, twisting out, and then come all the way back up. When you come up, reach the arms above the head, draw belly in, lift the opposite leg. It may not go far, but you're just engaging that core a little bit more and just challenging it. So roll down, gentle opener, coming all the way back up, lifting up, option to lift the leg. Good. If it's getting too strong, take a rest, come forwards, or come back with the hands under the thighs. You don't have to go far, as long as you're engaging the core on the way up. So pulling up with the pelvic floor, pulling belly button towards spine, and releasing everything on the way down. So it's entirely up to you. Good. Let's do one more on each side with the twist. So releasing down, coming out with that twist, coming all the way back up, lifting up, lifting core. Good. Last one. So rolling down, and then release forwards when you come back to center. Good. And relax. Good. We're going to come over onto hands and knees again. And we're going to work our shoulders with our thread the needle. So hands and knees. Again, if the knees aren't comfortable, put some more padding under, roll your mat up, put a towel under, something like that. Or again, you can do this one seated or standing. So again, there are options if you have any knee issues. It's always worth telling your instructor or making anybody aware. So let's come to the thread the needle. So we'll start with left hand again today. So find your 4-point kneeling. Make sure you knees are hip width apart. So important in this movement that the knees stay hip width. Pushing out through the shoulders to begin with, and turn the creases on the elbows inwards. So left arm is going to thread underneath the right side. So coming under, bringing that left shoulder down towards the ground, bending the right elbow. Ear to the ground if you can. If it's too strong, come all the way back out straight away. So if you're feeling good, you can hold it down there, take another breath, and then come all the way back up. Make sure you come back up to the 4-point kneeling and find that neutral spine, pulling the pelvis, pulling the belly button towards the spine and pulling up pelvic floor. So every time you come back to 4-point kneeling, find that perfect position. I shouldn't say perfect. I should say that correct position. Coming down to the opposite side with that thread the needle shoulder stretch, and then coming back up to the center. Good. Let's do one more to each side, and then I'm going to give you a couple of alternatives. So one more to each side, and then let me talk you through the alternatives, and you can take the alternatives if you want. So the alternatives are going to be, you're going to come all the way through with the arm, bend the elbow. Alternatives, you can take that standing arm and take it up towards the sky, only if the neck feels okay. So you're getting more of a stretch through both shoulders. And then come all the way back down, place the hand back down on the ground and unravel the arms. That one's quite strong on the neck and on the head. So if you have any neck issues, not this one for you. The other alternative is to come through with the arm, and instead of lifting that standing arm off the ground, you're going to slide it along the floor. We're going to do 3 more of each. So you choose the option that's good for you. Slide the arm down and then pull the elbow, pull the shoulder down towards the ground. So your choice. Remembering as well that if you're not getting all the way down, if it's too strong, just come under and come back out again. So if you have any questions on the thread the needle, please do put them in the chat. You've got to make sure that standing arm bends, the elbow bends. If it doesn't bend, you can't get that shoulder, that opposite shoulder down to the ground. Good. When you've done the last one, come back again into your child's pose. How do I do this seated? Oh, okay, Jackie. So if you're seated, let me do it seated this way. So if you're seated, you're just going to lean forwards a little. Let me show you this way. So I'm going to pretend I'm seated. So if you're seated, you put one hand on the thigh and you thread the arm underneath. So one hand on thigh and you just thread underneath, just a little thread, and then come back. And you can lift that arm up as well. So you just bring the weight forwards onto the thigh. So you're not sitting all the way upright. You want to come a little bit forwards, thread underneath, and then come all the way back. Thank you for asking that question. It's a really easy one to do. And it's still working this shoulder. So you should find that that's still a good one to do. Good. Okay, so if you've done the last one, come all the way back. And again, if you're seated and we say child's pose, all you need to do if you're seated is just take a little rock back or a little rock forward. So you're just releasing the spine in child's pose. And we're not doing anything more other than really just stretching. It's just a relaxation position. Good. Okay, so the last one we're going to do, again, this one you can do seated. So let me show you on the floor and then come into it. Well, I'll show you the seated version. So we're going to work the chest. We're going to open up the chest with our arms. So we're just going to open this way to begin with. So again, you can do it seated like this and just bring the arms back. If you're coming down onto the mat, come down onto the mat. Make sure the feet are hip width at the back and bring those arms into that wide, into that what we call our W shape. So head down on the mat, just nose down. And then we're just going to lift the right arm. So squeeze the bottom down, squeeze the hips into the ground, and then just lift that right arm. So when you're lifting, make sure that you're lifting the elbow and the arm at the same rate. So you want to lift all the way back. We're not dipping one arm down or one arm up. We're lifting all the way back up. Let me show you this way round. So we're going to do 5 on each side. So elbow, head stays down to begin with, nose on the ground, elbow and hand lift. So you're not rocking or rolling with the elbow. Both should come up at the same angle. So think of them both being horizontal to the floor. So squeezing up. Make sure you're squeezing that bottom. So again, if you're doing it seated, you're just squeezing back, engaging the core, squeezing that arm back. Good. So if you're comfortable with both sides, you don't have any back issues, and it's feeling good in the neck, you can start to lift both arms. So squeeze the bottom. Make sure you do squeeze the bottom to protect the back. Pull the belly button in towards the spine and then lifting up. This time you can lift the head, but I want you to lift the crown of the head. So the crown comes up, head stays looking, nose stays looking down at the mat, all the way back down. So you're squeezing down through the feet and lifting up. And again, the same. If you're in the seated position, draw the belly in, elbows out, and just squeezing the shoulder blades back, bringing them back in level with the shoulders, and then squeezing back. So it's not a big move, it's just a gentle squeeze. Let's do 2 more, squeezing back. And remember, you can come back to one side if you're lying on the mat, and 2 is too strong. And release. Good. If you're down on the mat, turn the head to one side. If you're seated, just roll the shoulders. Just give the shoulders a little roll. And then turn the head to the opposite side. Just breathing in, breathing out. And then releasing out. Push on the hands if you're down on the mat. Push on the hands, come back again into that child's pose, just releasing all the way back. And then just coming, if you're on the mat, come into a seated position. So either cross-legged or legs out wide in front. or come back onto a chair if you've got a chair. So just come back to where's comfortable. We're just going to work a little bit with upper body, and we're going to do a twist. We're going to do a seated twist, and then we're going to come down onto the ground and do the lying twist for those that want to do the lying twist. So come into a comfortable cross-leg position if you can, or legs out in front, up to you. I'll show you both versions. So we're going to come to a seated twist, again, just to open up the body. So right hand over to left thigh, left hand behind the bottom. And again, so easy to do this one seated. I do this seated one in my seated classes all the time. Really good for digestion, really good for realigning the spine. So lifting up tall, and then as you breathe out, twisting through the belly. So it's not just the head moving, the whole body moves. So it's, think of it as a whole body movement, twisting round to the side. If you've got the knees out in front, you can still do the same. Rest the hands on the knees. Make sure this knee doesn't roll in, and just twist a little to the side. And the same in the seated position on the chair. Just bring the hand across, rolling out. Good. Hold for 2-3 breaths. Close the eyes if you can. Take the breath. And then come back to the center. Good. Roll the shoulders in the center. And then take the opposite side, opposite hand behind. Relax the shoulders down. Drawing the breath in, twisting through the spine. So really good for, say, digestion and for realigning the spine. Make sure you're not leaning forwards. Make sure you've got a nice, strong, straight spine. Crown of the head lifting. Hold for 2-3 breaths. Come back to the center. Option if you're seated in the cross leg position to roll forwards and take a stretch through the center. Keep the sit bones down. Find that stretch through the shoulders, through the hips. We're going to do 2 more of the twists, so your choice. So holding up, breathing in, take that twist. Hold and breathe. And then when you're ready, come back to the center. Take the option moving forwards if you want to before you come to the opposite side if you're seated. Remembering if you're in the crook knee, if you're in the bent knee position, just hands to thighs, turning around. Hold and breathe. Good, one more. So this time I want you to think about moving the eyes. So I'm going to show you this way. So you're going to come to the side twist, look to the side of your mat or your chair, and then without moving the head, gaze the eyes back. So look out of the corner of your eye, back at your shoulder. This is a really good one. This is an eye stretch. Good if you've been sat on the computer or mobile phone, or just need a release through the eyes. Just look back, but don't move the head. Just look back and then come back to the center. Take it the opposite side. So moving the head just to the side and then gaze back with the eyes so that head doesn't turn all the way this time. And then come back to the center. Good. Take a forward stretch or a release, whatever you want to do. So if you're seated, or if you like this one and you don't want to come down onto your back, just do 2 more of this seated twist. Otherwise, we're going to come down onto the back, knees hip width apart today, remember I said. So knees hip width apart, down onto the back, arms a little wider, so horizontally if you can, but below the shoulders. Keep the knees hip width apart, tilt the pelvis up a little bit, and then just allow the knees to come over to the side. But keep that distance. Try and keep that distance between the knees. So you're going to try and move the lower leg a little closer to the floor, keeping that upper leg just where it is. So just coming over to the side, and then draw in with the pelvic floor and the belly to bring the legs back. So with this one, you're controlling a little bit more through the core. So breathing out, having to find that control through the core, not to let the legs drop. Breathing out. and then coming back to the center. So I'm going to do 3 on each side. So again, if you're seated, just keep with the seated twist we've just done. Over to the side. And then back to the center. Good, just 1 more each side. Back to the center. When you come back to the center, come either into the crook knee position. We're going to rest. So bring the feet either hip width apart, drop the knees in, tilt the belly up. If you're feeling open now and you want to come out into Shavasana, take the feet, but take them wide to the mat, spread the toes outward. Place the hands on the belly. If you're seated, just come into a comfortable position, hands on the belly, and try and close the eyes. So wherever you are now, close the eyes and just focus. Focus on the breath. So I want you to breathe in through the nose, and I want you to try and feel the breath coming into the belly. Don't worry if it doesn't. If you're new to the breathing in the belly, maybe place 1 hand on the chest, 1 hand on the belly. And just if you feel the breath coming into the chest, just ask the breath to travel further down and come into the belly. So breathing into the belly is a more calming breath. And as babies, this is where we breathe. We naturally breathe into our belly. And as we get older, our breathing moves more into our chest area. And that can be quite, when we're stressed or anxious, this is where we hold all our tension, and this is where our breath starts to be a bit more rapid. We're breathing into the belly. And if you do have any anxiety or any stressful moments, I had mine on Tuesday, it's good to be able to calm your own body down by taking the breaths into the belly. So just 2 more breaths into the belly. And then when you're ready, if you're on the ground, you can take a stretch, full body stretch, take the arms over the head, or you can take a hug everything in. And then when you're ready, slowly come over to one side, open the eyes, come back into the room, bring yourself back up to a seated position. Bring the hands onto the knees. So again, if you want to come to this seated position, you can, or you can come back up to standing. And just again, just lift the shoulders up this time and release them down. So just notice how, in particular, the shoulders, the chest area, the upper back feel now. We have tried to lengthen a little bit. And also with the breathing, with the slow, controlled breathing, you are opening up the lungs and the chest. Take the chin, drop it down, breathe out. And back up to the center. Gently turn it to one side, breathing out. Come back to the center and lower down. So for those that are interested in the in my inclusive Pilates, in the chair-based sessions, I'll put my information in the chat. Each week I do have a certain number of sessions and places that I offer as trial, as taster sessions, just to like people to experience what I'm doing before they commit to regular classes. So if you are interested, and take a look at the website and book a session. Come back to the center, circle the shoulders again, bring the hands into the heart space, and thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed the session today. Any comments, please put them into the chat. I will put my website into the chat so you can have a little look. I think I put it to all panelists last time, which wasn't very, very helpful. But yeah, come and if you want more information about that, then do visit. Active Newham are also doing a series of health walks. They started, I think, last week. I'm doing my pregnancy and prenatal Pilates, pregnancy and prenatal walks twice a week, but there are some just general health walks that you can do. And I'm starting to do a mix of Zoom sessions and live sessions. So Chiara, even if you're in Italy, if you want to join my sessions, you can join the Zoom sessions. I'll put my email in as well.